everybody, I'm Kim Dunn, and you're listening to Cigar and Whiskey.
Folks, this is Yannick with none other than Kim Dunn. For those of you who don't know me, I host TDC Moncton and Cigar and Whiskey on Beau FM every Monday night. And for those of you who don't know who the man behind is, in front of me, he is none other than beautiful Kim Dunn. Handsome and very successful. This is your second CD, if I remember correctly.
It is, yeah.
Called Inspiration, and here people won't notice it, but we'll just show you the hallway. This is the hallway of Tait House in Shediac, which is where you, my dear man, are going to be presenting this CD, as well as it's going to be a musical evening from what I remember reading. I know it's going to be a lot of different types of menu items that are going to be offered as well in consideration of the actual release. Your name is Kim Dunn, unless you decided to shorten or modify it. You were born as Kim Dunn, correct?
Not exactly, but we won't get into that.
Oh, okay. You were born in North Sydney, Nova Scotia.
I was.
And raised. You're now residing in
Butler's Point.
That's it.
In St. Margaret's Bay area, just sort of on the south side of where the infamous South Shore of Nova Scotia starts. Right there.
You've been living there now for how long?
About 14 years.
14 years. Mm-hmm. And out of those 14 years, you have a 30-year music career. Yeah. Which I've tried to find out exactly what you went into when you decided to take a hiatus from the career for an additional 4 years studying jazz at St. FX. Right. You've got a singing voice, that much I do know, a very good one. But you play which instruments that you?
Well, my main instrument is piano.
Piano. Okay.
I play the guitar as well.
Okay.
I'm starting to play it a little more nowadays. When doing my own shows, I like to play a little more guitar. It suits certain songs better. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna sit here and consider myself an actual guitar player like some others would. My main instrument is piano, and basically.
Because a lot of the tunes I know in Inspiration, a lot of the music tends to be piano oriented, but I like the fact between your two discs, Take This Hammer, which was released in 2009, and Inspiration, which I think was released 2016, right?
Just in the midst of releasing it now.
Okay. Folks, if you ever listen to Kim Dunn's works, you will not be displeased for more than one reason. The man does not pigeonhole himself in any way, shape, or form, and that much you can probably agree to, and you can correct me if you think otherwise. But I do know that you like to play every single type of style. I can't say that you're entirely jazz or blues. You like taking elements of soul, rhythm and blues, blues, jazz, and even pop, but mixing it in the fashion that it actually comes out pleasant is putting it mildly, but it's more than pleasant. It's actually very entertaining. It's a party in your ears. It's like a good shot of whiskey on a nice evening with friends.
Cool. That's a nice way to put it. That's what I hope to translate. I can never sort of explain it to people. What's your music, and what kind of music is it? I don't know. I never know what to say. It does employ a lot of different ingredients.
I do know that if we compared it to American standards, it would be somewhat along the edge, if not sitting on AAA status in regards to adult alternative. Yeah. And Michael Bublé's in that, Diana Krall, and a whole bunch of other jazz and blues players too. But
it might be a little jazzy.
I find it jazzy.
Although as opposed to me, I do plan on doing a jazzier record someday. I love it, and as people have compared me to, I mean, I'm only going by what other people say, and it makes sense in a way. Not that I try to sort of shoot for any certain type of thing, but I'm a fan of people like Randy Newman and Lyle Lovett, early Elton John, things like that, Tom Waits, and so, you know, lo and behold, I've been compared to such by some people who have heard my music, so I can accept that. You know, that's okay with me.
Well, even without those being said for comparisons, before we go any further into discovering you, the 4 years that you took at Tait House, was it for any reason specifically? You're just...
well, it was like the timing was right. I was coming off of like a band that I was playing with at the time was sort of dismantling, and you know, I was relatively pretty young at the time. I think I was 23 or so, and you know, I wouldn't say that it was for lack of anything else to do, but it just, because I always kind of had that in the back of my mind, that I wanted to go and study and focus a little deeper on my craft, and so I wasn't really thinking about doing it at that time, but as it turned out, it made sense to do it at that time, and so looking back on it, it was a move that I'll never regret. It was a great decision, and I had a great 4 years in St. Yves down in Antigonish, studying and playing and focusing on music, you know, and it was great. Yeah.
So how did you defend your? I know that people don't believe me when I say this, but usually when you go into music, similar to doing a 4-year degree, at the end of your degree you have to defend your thesis. Musical thesis is kind of a funny way of putting it, but in your case, did you compose something specifically for the presentation? Actually,
yes and no. I mean, like, I was in a program where, see, I started out by taking a diploma, a 2.5 year diploma program.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure if I was going to want to be there for any longer than that, and I knew that at the time, if you decided to go back for the 4-year degree program, that you could go from that, apply the 2.5 year diploma to a degree. And so I took that route. So somewhere in the middle of all of that, when it came time to choose a so-called major, I took more of a general, all-around sort of thing, more of a pedagogy approach, which meant that like I might come out more prepared to teach.
Okay.
As opposed to focusing on the arranging side of it. That would have been a major, or a composition would have been another major that I could have decided on taking. If I had my way over, I think I probably would have taken arranging. But anyway, so at the end of it all, I composed a lot of pieces, a lot of songs, and did a lot of writing, but I didn't have to do a thesis.
Okay, good.
But it was my own choice at the end of my term there to just, I did a recital. It wasn't anything that I had to do, but I just wanted to do it, and I presented a lot of my music and a lot of my arrangements and so on and so on. So yeah.
Well, I know for your career, you were the first musician given the what they called the 2003 Musician Special Achievement East Coast Music Award.
Right.
You were the first one.
Yeah, that was an award that they created. They decided to. It was brought in 2003. It was just an award that they created as a means of honoring, you know, like guys like me at the time. And that was before I went on to this solo path, and before I started recording my own music. So I was totally a sideman, gun for hire, whatever. And I was doing some producing, and I'd get these musical directing gigs where I was an MD or things like that. But generally, I was just a sideman, and I was playing, you know, for accompanying people.
Yeah.
And so that award was generated and created to honor guys like that. You know?
Well, to recognize your contribution, I
Yeah,
think is probably
sure.
the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
Folks, interesting facts about Kim. He has worked with the who's who of East Coast rosters, such as Rita McNeil, Bruce Guthrow, Matt Minglewood, Jimmy Rankin, Lenny Gallant, David Miles, Jill Barber, Dave Gunning, George Canyon, and way, way more than that. Have had the chance to meet and work with Alison Krauss, Peter Gzowski,
Yeah.
Philip Glass, and you performed at the Montreal Jazz Festival.
Right.
That was in which year, Kim?
Oh gosh, that was gee, I don't remember now, but it was around the time I was either still in or just coming out of it was like the early 90s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've traveled and performed in the U.S., Holland, Germany, Switzerland, and you've toured extensively throughout Canada.
Yeah.
So we can call you our own Canadian gem. Now, I know that with this album, inspiration, I know the first one was Take This Hammer, because you took your inspiration for that disc based on the tune itself. Take This Hammer was the focal point for the whole disc. And I'm trying to remember what it was tied to. There was a small story that I managed to find.
Oh, is that right? Well,
Yeah.
that song was a song that I started doing because of Rita McNeil, really, I guess. That's not a song that I wrote. I do write most of my music, but I do put the odd cover tune or whatever on my albums. There's 3 on Take This Hammer. And Take This Hammer was an old song written by Leadbelly. An old, I think it might even be classified as a work song. Because he wrote it when he was in prison, and so I was playing with Rita McNeil at the time, and this was, like I said again, before I started doing my own stuff, and Rita was so supportive, and always was so supportive and encouraging to people. Like if she knew that you sang and you know wrote music or whatever, she'd help you in any way, and she'd see to it that you'd sing a tune or 2 a night. She did that for anybody that ever played with her. And so on this particular night, the first time she ever got me to sing, I wasn't ready for it. She just kind of sprung it on me, and Kim, dear, I think it's time that you sing a song for these nice people here tonight. 2,500 people in the Windspear Theatre out in Edmonton or whatever. I don't remember where, but. And so I was sitting there like, really? Now? And yes, dear, that would be fine, So I was listening to an arrangement of this by Harry Manx did a version of this on his album, a great version of that song. And I figured it was easy enough for the boys to jump in on, so I just launched into it, more of a jam, really. And of course Rita almost jumped out of her seat because she was a big fan of Leadbelly. In her early years, when she was playing the smaller rooms, the cafes, and she would do a lot of Leadbelly's music, and so she joined in, and sang. It was great fun, and so I just kept on doing the song, and I decided to call my CD that because more about the hammer reference on a piano, it would probably make more sense if you saw the CD because the photographs correspond to the title, I guess, in a way. But that was the story behind that.
If you want to go see the CD art, it's available off the website from Kim Dunn. So it's www.kimdunn with 2 N's.ca. And it'll give you access to his current material, including side notes for inspiration, which I think is available off the website now. Or not yet?
Yeah, no, it's not available yet for sale just yet. I'm releasing it in May.
Okay.
Sometime in May, and I'll have it on iTunes and CD Baby, and any other method will be illustrated on my website as to how to obtain it.
Is this your first CD release date?
Well, I guess technically it is.
Yeah. So Welcome,
Yeah.
folks, to Tait House with Kim Dunn, and he's actually doing us the pleasure of being privileged on getting this release first.
And I'd like to say hi to my Moncton friends and my New Brunswick friends. I've got a lot of friends up here, and yeah, I've been doing lots of playing up here in recent years. It's going good.
Well, Kim, I won't delay you any further, folks. Look for inspiration and look for Kim at a venue near you very soon. Thank you very much, Kim.
Thanks, Yannick. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.